Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei teleported to Ben10 Alien Force and had Omnitrix Part 4. This is the continuation of What If Issei teleported to Ben10. Before we start, please go support Photon DX10 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 04. Kevin and Rainer betray us, the revenge of Volcanus. Avyuma. Kevin and I were driving at night and saw an old acquaintance of ours. Arjit, the first friend Kevin made outside the void and that I hate like the plague, and I insult him as street sower rat. Uma, of all the people to see, it had to be Arjit. Why do you have to be friends with that street sower rat, Kevin? I asked Kevin when I saw Arjit's ass liquor. Kevin. I like Arjit, I don't know why you hate him, Uma. Kevin asked, and I don't feel like explaining to him the reason why I hate Arjit. Kevin stopped his car near Arjit and I saw that he was armed with a gun. Arjit. Kevin, I've been waiting like an hour. How long without seeing each other, Uma? Arjit said, trying to flirt with me. Uma. You're not my type, Arjit, go back to the sower you call home. I said to the alien. Kevin. And I said that Uma and I would come, and there we are. Arjit, what's your proposal? Kevin said. Arjit. I expected that from you, Uma, but not from you, Kevin. Why do you get like this after everything we went through? Don't you like seeing your old friend? Arjit asked, pretending to be innocent. Uma. Book you, Arjit, and don't even think about talking to me and Kevin again. I said, and Kevin started the engine of the car, and almost when we left the place and opened the window and to throw an empty soda can at Arjit's head, he put his hands in the glass to stop us. Arjit. No, wait, I have the technology you are looking for. Arjit said, and Kevin rolled down the window to talk to the street sower rat. Kevin. What makes you think that Uma and I are looking for something? Kevin asked. Uma. Explain and be quick, Arjit. I have a pedicure for 10 in the morning, and if I miss it, it's your fault, I said to the rat. Arjit. Oh please, Uma and Kevin. Octagon Vredal says that you have communicated with the main sellers and you are both on the black market for one special thing, and that I have it. Arjit said, irritated. Uma. Really? I asked. Arjit. You seem to understand me. Now that I have something for you, I'm removing you from my contacts. Arjit said, and he tried to leave, but Kevin followed him with the car. Kevin. Arjit, you made me and Uma look bad in many deals, and you know it, and that's why I forgot how much I appreciate you. Kevin said. Uma. Not me, I hate you. I said. Arjit. Kevin, Uma, my friends, I can't be angry with you, especially when there's money involved. Arjit said. Kevin. So, show it to us. Kevin said. Arjit. In fact, I don't have it here with me, friends. Arjit said. Uma. Typical of you, Arjit, you never keep your end of the deal. I said to Arjit. Kevin. Come on, Kevin said. Arjit. But I can make the connection with whoever has it, but I must warn you, it will cost you extra. Arjit said. Uma. Like in what sense? I asked. Arjit. Let Uma have a date with me this Saturday, and I will contact the person who has what you are looking for. Arjit said. Uma. What? No way, I said, angry. Kevin. Done deal. Kevin said, and I punched him in the shoulder, and we left with Ben, Issei and Gwen. Damn, Kevin, I'll spear you for that. Issei. Me, Ben and Gwen were in the Motorhome parking lot and we saw how Kevin and Rainer came back and started fixing the engine of the Tartana 2 while we were looking at things about Max, especially the trip we had when he was in this world the first time. Gwen. Hey, Ben, look, it's us in front of the ancient Tartana. Gwen said, showing a photo of them as children with Max, and from the date of the photo I can deduce that it was taken after I left. Ben. It's amazing that he traded in his old ugly Motorhome for another old ugly Motorhome. Ben said, remembering the day the original Tartana was ruined forever. Issei. How did the original Tartana get ruined? I asked Ben and Gwen. Ben. The engine blew up when we came back from a fishing trip where Dr. Animo attacked us. Ben said, and I know it's from the end of the Ben10 Destroy All Aliens movie. Uma. I wonder why that crazy vet didn't slaughter you that day. Rainer said, and Gwen slapped him. Ben. Still, that summer was amazing, remember Gwen? He was a hero all the time. We met Issei and Kevin and Uma were very bad. Ben said, and that irritated those mentioned. Issei. Yes, and because of me you lost feedback to malware. I said, blaming myself that I had unlocked feedback for Ben and that it was destroyed because of me. Gwen. It wasn't your fault, Issei. Gwen said, and we heard how Kevin came out from under the Tartana. Kevin. I heard it, Tennyson. I know you two are here to keep an eye on me and Uma. Kevin said. Uma. Yes, and no, you do a good job. Rainer said. Gwen. Still, it's kind of you to help us repair the Tartana too. Gwen said, and Kevin took out his mechanical things from under the Tartana and Gwen put Max's photos back in the box, and when she got up to put the photos on his site, Kevin got in the middle. Kevin. Not yet. Kevin said, and he and Uma entered inside Tartana 2. Ben. I'm still not buying the nice guy thing, Kevin. Ben said, suspicious of Kevin. Issei. That goes for you too, Raynor. I said to the fallen angel. Gwen. Ben, Issei. Gwen said irritated. Inside the Tartana 2 Kevin took out the plumber's badge and put it near the radio, and a kind of button was shown. Kevin. Okay, time to test the engine. Kevin said. Yuma. Do you think it will work? Raynor asked Kevin and he nodded. Issei, well done Kevin. I said and we heard how the Tartana accelerated and left the place, and the three of us moved away to avoid being run over. Ben. Come back, Kevin and Yuma. Ben shouted to the two who escaped with Tartana 2, and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Big Chill and Stinkfly. Then Big Chill, Ben shouted like Frost. Issei Stinkfly I shouted as a Stinkfly, and I realized that I am the Stinkfly from the reboot, which although I don't see it, doesn't mean that I don't like the new aliens and the new Stinkfly design, which in my opinion I like a lot. Ben and I flew away to chase Kevin and Raynor and stop them as soon as possible. Kevin activated the weapons of Tartana 2, and Raynor came out to attack us through the air and throw spears of light at us, but we dodged them easily, and Ben used his ice powers to freeze the road and make it difficult for Kevin to escape, and I used the powers of Stinkfly Mucus to Raynor to leave her wings full of mucus, and I saw how she fell to the roof of Tartana 2, and Kevin pressed a button to make spikes come out of the tires to break the ice, and Ben decided to continue using the ice powers to stop Kevin's escape, and he succeeded, but Kevin threw a net at us to stop us, and he succeeded, and he and Raynor fled, and we saw that Gwen arrived, and I and Ben transformed into humans again. Ben. Kevin and Yuma escaped. Ben said. Issei. Yes, and with the Tartana. I said. Gwen. Wow, I mean, that's bad, Gwen said. Ben. How could we have believed those two? They are liars and thieves, Ben said angrily. Gwen. That was them in the past, now they're different, and so are we. Gwen said. Issei. No, Gwen, I do believe about Kevin that she has changed, but no about Raynor, she is the same lying and treacherous fallen angel who tried to kill me several times, and as long as I am still alive, I will never forgive Raynor for everything. What has he put me through, I said enraged. Gwen. Issei, you don't know what Yuma had to go through, but that's beside the point now, I can track Kevin and Yuma with this. Gwen said, showing the ballet that Kevin used to fix the mess before fleeing. Ben. Do you have his dirty balletta? Ben asked annoyed, and Gwen used her anodite powers to track down Kevin and Raynor. Issei. Did you find them? I asked. Gwen. Yes. Gwen said. Yuma. After 15 minutes we arrived where Arja told us where he was, and I saw the street, so were Rad and Kevin, and I left La Tartana 2 so that Arja could inspect the engine of the Motorham with his flashlight, and he said that everything is in order. Arjit. This is worthless, friends. Arjit said. He had obviously lied. Yuma. Well, look inside, doormat with legs. I said, and the three of us went inside, and with Kevin's plumber's badge, we saw all the things about Ben and Gwen's grandfather, and he gave us the same answer again. Arjit. Like I told you, Kevin and Yuma, it's worth nothing, but the accessories are worth a fortune. Arjit said. Kevin. Do you think your buyer will want it? Kevin asked. Arjit. Oh yes, if you have a chance, Arjit said, and he threw his poisonous spikes towards us, and Kevin and I ended up paralyzed by the poison. Kevin. I can't move. Kevin said through his teeth. Yuma. Me neither, I said between my teeth. Arjit. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin and Yuma, this thing is worth more than all the money I owe. Finally, no more debt and fee, Yuma, consider this my revenge for all the times you called me a street sower rat, and consider our date cancelled, Arjit said, and threw Kevin and me out of the Tartana. Yuma. Damn you, Arjit, I said enraged. Kevin. And that Motorham is the only thing I have for exchange, Kevin said angrily. Arjit. You should have accepted other offers, friends. When the two of you can walk, go see him, he's a salesman named Volcanus, he says he knows you too, he says he wants you and Yuma dead. Says Arjit, and he left with the Tartana 2 to where Volcanus was. Kevin managed to get rid of the paralysis and absorb the ground and thrown a huge rock to stop Arjit, but the stray sower rat managed to escape. Issei. After 15 minutes of driving, thanks to Gwen's mana, we have reached where Kevin and Raynor were, and we have decided to confront them for what they have done. Kevin. I know this looks bad, Kevin said, but Ben interrupted him. Ben. Bad. Evil. If you don't give us back the Tartana, we'll teach you Issei and I what's bad, Ben said, getting hysterical. Yuma. I doubt it, Tennyson. Raynor said. Issei. When this is over and Max returns, where is he going to live, huh? I said enraged. Yuma. I don't know, in a home for useless old people like him. Raynor said, and Ben slapped him for his lack of respect for Max. Ben. Never speak ill of my grandfather, understand, Yuma. Ben said, and thought about activating his Omnitrix to transform, but Gwen stopped us to avoid a massacre. Gwen. Hey, do I have to separate you? Gwen asked annoyed. Ben. He stole Grandpa's house, who in his right mind steals an old man's house? Ben said. Heaven. One with a big heart, right? Gwen asked. Heaven, yes, this is important. Kevin said. Issei. Important for what, for you and Raynor? I asked and Kevin activated his plumber license plate map. Gwen. Did you hide a device to track Tartana? Gwen asked. Kevin. Did you think I was going to let them steal a fortune in technology from me? Kevin asked. Uma. Well, you're wrong. Raynor said and we went to the car to go to the workshop where the Tartana was and when we arrived we saw where it was and it was intact, or almost. Kevin. She's robbed. Kevin said irritated. Ben. Great, where's your fortune, Kevin? Ben asked in a mocking tone and I found something lying on the floor. Issei. How much is it worth? $5. I asked. Ben kicked the accumulated tires. Ben. We're supposed to keep the planet safe from an alien invasion and we can't stop our vehicle from being stolen, Ben said desperately. Uma. Leave it, Tennyson. Raynor said irritated and she and Kevin tried to leave, but Ben and I stopped them. Issei. You're not going anywhere. I said. Kevin. That would be the part where the two of you become aliens and try to kill me and Uma. Ben. We are considering it, Ben said, and we heard that someone was going to open the door and we hid and saw that it was Arjit. Personally, he is one of my most hated characters, even Mitsuda and Motohama hate him too. Arjit entered inside the Tartana to steal something and tore off the button. Arjit. Well, I knew I was missing something. Arjit said and got out of the Matorham and we were there to stop him. Uma. You're in big trouble, Arjit, so don't even think about escaping, Raynor said, and Arjit fled through the window, and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Echo and Wildmat. Then Echo, Ben shouted like Echo. Issei Wildmat, Grog, I growled like Wildmat, and we chased Arjit all over the place to prevent him from running away, and Ben used Echo's sonic powers to make him crash into a ladder, and I attacked him with a paw, and Arjit tried to paralyze us with his poisonous quills and Kevin and Raynor warned Gwen not to approach Arjit because of his spikes, and when Arjit was going to throw his spikes I attacked him like a lion its prey and Ben used his sonic screams to KO. To Arjit. 5 minutes later, Arjit woke up and realized that he can't throw the poison spikes from him since Gwen and Uma had superglued them to him. Then Echo, Gwen and Uma glued the spikes to your head with superglue. Ben said and I nodded and we transformed into humans again. Issei. Let's fix this, Arjit. I said to the alien rat. Arjit. I'll tell you one last time, you can't trust them, Arjit said towards Kevin and Raynor. Uma. In us, rat. Raynor said, angry and about to stick his spear into Arjit's head. Arjit. Do you know what those two were going to do? They were going to sell your Matorham to another criminal, it's good that I stopped them. Said Arjit playing the victim. Kevin. That's a lie, you stole it, Kevin said. Arjit. Yes, and I could be a cretin, but these two are not good and you can't trust them, they will betray you when you least realize, Arjit said. Uma. Damn doormat with feet, Raynor said angrily. Ben. This jerk is right, you and Uma are always involved in something. Ben said. Issei. Yes, you only think about yourself and nothing else and you're never sincere, always stealing and lying. I said to Kevin and Raynor. Ben. What do you and Uma have to say in your defense? Ben asked in an accusatory tone. Kevin. You know what, I don't have to explain anything, Kevin said. Uma. I'm leaving, buck off, Raynor said. The two. We don't want to see you again, the two said in unison. Uma. Hey Issei. Take back your gift trash, Raynor said, throwing to the ground the pink bracelet that I gave her on our date a long time ago, and without knowing it, she was crying, as if I cared about the feelings of that shitty angel. Uma. Kevin and I went to where Volcanus was, and we arrived at a scrapyard for World War II airplanes, and when we arrived, the Pico aliens, the minions of Volcanus, appeared. Kevin. Take us to your leader. Kevin said, and the aliens took us inside the warehouse and took us to their boss. The Detravide arms dealer, Volcanus. Although the guy seems big and intimidating, what he wears is nothing more than a suit to make himself look big. Uma. I heard you were looking for me and Kevin, Volcanus. I said to criminal Detravida. Kevin. Here we are. Kevin said. Volcanus. Kevin Levin and Uma Mano, I don't know whether to make deals with you or break you to pieces. Do you remember that atomic copy from a few years ago? Volcanus asked angrily. Uma. Yes, and it still makes me laugh to this day, I said, laughing at the day Volcanus lost his body. Volcanus. It's not funny, you left me holding the bag and at the mercy of the plumbers, I escaped, but I'm on Earth with level 3 technology, thanks to you, Volcanus said, blaming us for the fact that he is trapped on Earth and that the plumbers destroyed his ship. Kevin. That's the past, we're here to make a deal. Kevin said and Volcanus stood up. Volcanus. I have the plumbing device you wanted. Volcanus said and showed us a holovisor. Uma. Yes, that's exactly what Kevin and I are looking for. I said to the Detravida. Volcanus. What will you give me in exchange? Volcanus asked. Kevin. Look, honestly, I had a plumber's license plate, but I lost it. Kevin said. And I have nothing unfortunately. I said. Volcanus. Do you want to be indebted to me? Volcanus asked angrily. Kevin. Just tell us what Yuma and I should do. Kevin said. Yuma. Yes, anything works for us. I said, and he thought about offering us his hand for the deal, but he just grabbed Kevin and I by both arms. Volcanus. Kneel, Levin. Volcanus said, and Kevin got down on his knees. Yuma. And what about me? I asked angrily. Volcanus. I have something else prepared for you. Said Volcanus, and two things appeared from the ground. A titanite crystal and a striptease bar. Yuma. What's with a strip bar, Volcanus, what the hell? I said when I saw that the ribbons of the titanite crystal grabbed Kevin's arm and began to absorb it against his will. Volcanus. First, Levin, you will pay for everything you have done to me, and Raynor will pay his debts with a little entertainment for me. Volcanus said and started laughing. Yuma. In your dreams, cretin, I said, but a pico-alien put a shackle around my ankle so I couldn't escape, and the pico-alien gave the key to Volcanus and broke it in two. Kevin kept absorbing the titanite and ended up becoming a titanite man. Yuma. Oh no, Kevin, I said, but the shackle prevented me from escaping, and Volcanus pressed a button on his chair, and I ended up electrocuted. Volcanus. Dance for me, Raynor, or I'll increase the intensity. Said Volcanus, and as much as I didn't want to, I had to do a stripper dance for the idiot Volcanus, and that was humiliating, and I saw how Volcanus's minions used their beaks to remove the titanite from Kevin's back, and that hurt him. Kevin. You can do whatever you want with me and Yuma, but Ben Tennyson and Issei Hyoudou will have the holovisor. Kevin said in pain. Yuma. Yes, and they'll close El Cringito to you, Volcanus, I said while I continued doing my humiliating stripper dance, and I heard how Volcanus laughed and threw the holovisor to the ground. Volcanus. You are not in a position to order, Volcanus said, and we heard two very familiar voices. It was Gwen along with Ben and Issei like Frost and Stinkfly. Kevin. Did you follow us? Kevin asked. Ben, big chill, please stop getting angry and abandoning us. Ben said. Yuma. For once I'm glad to see you. I said. Issei, Stinkfly, well, not you, Raynor, but Gwen insisted that I help you. Issei said. Volcanus. You have friends, or rather, you had, Volcanus said, taking out a flamethrower from his back, and he shot it at Ben and Issei dodged it. Gwen used her anodite powers against the pico-aliens and defeated them. Volcanus went towards where Ben was with his flamethrower in his hand and saw that there was no it was since Frost became intangible and attacked him from behind with his frozen breath, and Volcanus counterattacked with his flamethrower. But Issei took it away and used the mucus from the stinkfly eyes to destroy the weapon, and Volcanus became enraged and attacked them like a raging bull, but he hit a wall and destroyed his robotic hand and also the strip bar I was tied to. Issei, Stinkfly, good way to break your hand and the strip bar, Volcanus. Issei said, throwing his tongue at Volcanus, and saw that he destroyed his hand. Ben, big chill, I told you so. Ben said. Volcanus. You wouldn't be protecting them if I told you everything they've done to me, Volcanus said. Issei, Stinkfly, they stole and ran, this is what Kevin and Raynor are like. Issei said, and Kevin used the oil valve on his destroyed arm in Ben and Issei's eyes and blinded them and then slapped them in the face. Yuma. Ben, Issei, I said when I saw how Volcanus attacked Ben and Issei in such a cowardly method. Gwen couldn't block the attack for a long time, and it occurred to her to break one of the spikes to get rid of the aliens, and she succeeded since the spike exploded, but more came, and Gwen repeated the same process as before, and I helped her with that, and everyone the aliens were defeated. Ben and Issei had a difficult time against Volcanus, and apparently had them between a rock and a hard place. Volcanus. I'm the loser here, when the plumbers caught me, they destroyed my ship, but what? Volcanus said that he saw that there was a spear of light passing through his suit, and when he tried to remove it, his suit exploded and revealed his true form as an alien baby with a diaper included. Volcanus tried to flee, and Gwen saw how Kevin was a human titanite mine and she freed him from the shackles, and just by touching Kevin's face, she returned to his human form and with her clothes somewhat destroyed. After that, Ben and I transformed back into humans and ran to where Kevin was. Gwen. Be careful. Gwen said. Issei, are you okay, Kevin? I asked Kevin and he nodded. Ben. Hey, what do we do with Volcanus? Ben asked when he saw that Volcanus was rejoicing in his titanite treasure. Yuma. Let's leave it, he already has what he wanted. Raynor said, and we left, not knowing that the events of the third episode of the third season will take place thanks to titanite. Kevin. Wait. Kevin said and picked up the holovisor from the ground. Issei. Is that what you two were looking for? I asked when I saw the holovisor. Gwen. Another holovisor? Gwen asked. Yuma. This one is very special. Raynor said. Ben. Why didn't you tell us? Ben asked. Kevin. Guess what, me and Yuma were criminals, and I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, things that if you knew, maybe you would never trust me again. The next time I tell you leave it, Kevin said. Yuma. Also, Kevin and I redeemed ourselves by being in the void, and even though Issei doesn't want to believe me, let him understand the hell that I don't want to hurt him anymore, and that I never wanted to kill him in the first place, I said enraged at Issei. Gwen. That's not how it works, Kevin and Yuma. Gwen said. Ben. It's not what you did that matters to us, but what you will do. Ben said. Issei. Yes, sure, let's look at it. Issei asked and we saw Max Tennyson's hologram. Max recording, Ben, if you already found this message, you must already be inside, and Issei too, there's much I can't reveal, but there's one thing I can. You're not alone, Ben, for now, maybe you're meeting several plumber kids, but you need to find more, you need to make a team. The message ended and we went to Kevin's car, and Issei stopped me. Yuma. What do you want? I asked Issei and he gave me back my pink bracelet. Issei. Don't think that I'm going to forgive you with that, I still hate you more than anything in the world, and my threat to kill you here and now won't change anything, Rainer Issei said and went to the car. I went in too, and that made me think about the date that Issei and I had, and that instead of telling him to die, telling him that I loved him. Yuma. Issei, I never wanted to hurt you, and instead of telling you to die, I wanted to tell you that I loved you. I said in my mind about my feelings towards Issei, and that one day I can tell him the truth about my past, and why I killed him on our date. Ben and Issei received a message from Grandpa Max, and that the 5 of them are not enough to face the threat of the hybrid, without knowing that in the next chapter, Gwen and Yuma put themselves in danger from someone very dangerous, whose appearance can be deceiving. Chapter 05. Distrust and jealousy. Gwen and Yuma in danger. Normal POV. It was night, and in the mansion a girl wearing a school uniform was seen knocking on the door of the mansion to call the person who lives there, and when the door opened, she was bitten by a strange being and was wandering the streets. In a semi-zombie appearance and with strange marks on his arm. Issei. We were in the parking lot of the burger shack, and Ben was looking at Max's message over and over again, and that worried us, especially me, since he misses his grandfather and seeing him also makes me think about mine who passed away when was a kid. Issei. Grandpa, I wish you were here, I really need your help. I said thinking about my grandfather Juzo Hyoudou, and I noticed how Rainer came up behind me. Issei. What do you want? You don't know how to leave me alone, or what? I asked the fallen angel irritably. Yuma. I'm worried about Ben, he's been looking at his grandfather's message for hours, and he's repeating it over and over again. Rainer said, but I didn't care about his opinion. Issei. I didn't ask for your opinion, get lost, Rainer. I said to the fallen angel. Yuma. Stop it, Issei, I'm already fed up with your behavior towards me, if I wanted to kill you, I would have done it here and now, Rainer said, already fed up with how he treated her. Issei. I hate you like the plague, Rainer, I will never forgive you for what you did to me, you destroyed my life, I said. Yuma. I have changed, I no longer want to kill you, I want to help you and Ben save the earth from the DNAs, why don't you want to believe me? Rainer asked. Issei. The last time I believed you, you killed me, you tortured Asia to steal her sacred gear, and you asked me to take pity on your pathetic life, so that Rias wouldn't send you to hell, I said to the fallen angel that I despise. Yuma. My stay in the void changed me and I regret everything I've done, and now I'm a different person, and I even left my fallen angel name behind and I go by my true name that my mother gave me, Yuma said crying. Issei. Now, crocodile tears, as if anyone believed it, I said and received a slap from Gwen. Gwen. Yuma really changed, Issei, and I believe her, it seems the only one who has changed is you, but for the worse. Gwen said and took Rainer with her along with Kevin. Issei. I should have finished you off in Chicago when I had the chance. I said but I was ignored. Yuma, thank you Gwen. Rainer said wiping her tears. Gwen. I do believe you, Yuma, and it can be seen in your eyes that you are telling the truth. Gwen said. Yuma. Why doesn't Issei want to believe me? I never wanted to hurt him, ever, but I was forced to do it otherwise they would kill me. Rainer said sad at what he did to me. Gwen. But now you have another chance and if Issei doesn't accept you, it's her problem, because I'm your friend, Yuma. Gwen said to the fallen angel. Yuma. I appreciate it, Gwen, I really do. Yuma said to Gwen and they hugged and Gwen got up to see Kevin. Kevin. Hey, Gwen, do you think we should be worried? You've been seeing Max's message for hours, what's happening? Kevin asked Gwen. Gwen. Why don't you ask me out? Gwen asked Kevin. Kevin. What? Kevin asked surprised. Gwen. You heard me, we spent so much time together that you obviously liked me. Gwen said and Kevin looked away. Yuma. Don't deny it, Kevin, you know it's true. Yuma said to the Ismotion. Gwen. Seriously, I know you drool over me when I'm not looking. Gwen said. Kevin. Drooling. Kevin said. Gwen. And I like you, most of the time, I'll ask you again. Gwen said. Kevin. See, that's the problem. You ask me, the man is the one who should ask. Kevin said. When? Oh yeah, and when? Gwen asked irritably. Kevin. Don't pressure me. Kevin said. When? Don't pressure me. Gwen said, imitating Kevin. Uma. I don't know if that works with Issei, he hates me like the plague and I want to show him that I've changed. Uma said. Gwen. Give it time. Gwen said, and I agreed with her, and Kevin looked at Ben. Kevin. Hey, my dog used to bite his tail all the time until the vet made us put a cone on his neck. Kevin said to Ben, but he didn't listen. Issei, I don't think it worked, Kevin. I said. Ben. Don't worry guys, I'm fine, and also, Kevin, I'm not the one you're mad at. Ben said. Kevin. What do you say, Ben, do you and Issei want to go fight aliens? Kevin asked. Issei. More or less. I said. Ben. By the way, Kevin, let me see your plumber's license plate. Ben said, and Kevin gave the license plate to Ben and activated the holographic map to locate more plumber license plates. Issei. Each light indicates the location of another plate, right? I asked Kevin. Kevin. Yes. Kevin said. Ben. And where there's a plaque we'll find a plumber, or, at least, a plumber's son. Ben said and turned off the map. Issei, let's go, you drive, Kevin. And I'm keeping an eye on you, Rainer, in case you're up to something. I said to the fallen angel, and we went to the car, and Gwen was repeating the word plumber over and over again to annoy Kevin and convince him to go out with her. Uma. The idea is good, Gwen, but I highly doubt it will work with someone like Issei, because the only thing he thinks about is his girlfriend Rias Apace, in other words, the devil who sent me to hell the first time. Rainer said to provoke me, but I didn't pay attention to her. Ben. Guys, cut it out please. Ben said, trying to calm the situation. In the middle of the road, a girl wearing a school uniform was wandering along the road as if she had gone to a bottle and with a strange mark on her arm, and when a truck saw her, it turned away and crashed into the highway and the foundations. They began to break down and many people were in danger, and we were witnesses to the events. Uma. What happened? Rainer asked, and we saw how the highway broke down and several cars fell victim to it. Kevin went down to help the injured trucker, and Gwen made aim on a bridge to save the people in their cars until the whole highway collapsed and people went out of their cars and the ground before them broke, and Rainer was gone to help them, and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into human Gaussor and 4 arms. Ben human Gaussor, Issei 4 arms. Ben and I jumped down the highway, and Ben grew huge to stabilize the bridge, while I made sure to get the people who were still inside their vehicles out into safety. And I know this is the episode where the cheap knockoff appears, an evil from my friend Kiba, Michael Esteller, alias Estrella Negra. Ben human Gaussor, come down everyone, I can't hold on for long. Said Ben, and Gwen saw the girl indirectly caused by the accident, and I was just going to help her. We saw a golden flash in the sky, and I know it's Michael Steller's idiot. Michael went down to the girl and saved her from being run over, and that Michael is the antagonist of the episode and the cause of what happens to the girls at his school. Me, Kevin, Gwen and Rainer managed to get all the people off the highway, and Ben and I transformed back into humans to see if the girl is okay. Trina. I have to get out of here. I was running, Trina said, until she fainted in Michael's arms due to exhaustion. Michael. It's okay, Trina, you're safe now. They saved you. Michael said, and I know he's just pretending to be the good guy. Ben. Your friend saved you, he's just being modest. Ben said, but I didn't let me be fooled by Michael Esteller. Michael. Whoever you are or whatever you are, thank you. Something strange is happening to the girls at school lately. Michael said. Issei. Damn liar, I feel like breaking your jaw with one punch. I said in my thoughts. Ben. It was a pleasure, we made a good team, friends. You have a plumber's license plate. Ben said, looking at the plumber's badge that was on Michael's belt. Michael. Yes, my father gave it to me. Do you know about plumbers? Michael asked. Kevin. Yes, of course, we are part of them. Kevin said, taking his plumber's badge out of his pocket. Ben. I'm Ben, this is Kevin, my cousin Gwen, and this is Issei and Uma. He said, introducing us to Michael's womanizing idiot. Michael. Wait, Ben Tennyson and Issei Hyoudou. I'm a big fan of yours. I saw you fight the plant monster in Seattle 5 years ago, but I heard you disappeared. I'm Michael Esteller. Michael said, introducing himself to us and shaking hands with Kevin and Ben, but I took mine away from him. Issei. Don't think I'll give you your hand, it will surely be dirty. I said to Michael's asshole, and I saw how he approached Gwen and Rainer and shook their hands, and I saw how a spark came out of Michael's hands when he touched Gwen and Rainer. Uma. What was that? Rainer asked. Michael. I don't know, it's never happened before. Michael said, and I saw how Rainer blushed at Michael, and that, as strange as it seemed to me, I didn't like him at all, and no, I'm not jealous, okay. Gwen. Maybe because all 3 of us have powers. Gwen said to the villain. Michael? It's possible. Michael said. Kevin. Well, now that we've met, why don't we go? Kevin suspicious asked. Issei. Kevin is right, let's go back home and continue our search tomorrow. I said, trying to save Gwen from Michael, since I don't care what Michael would do to Rainer. Michael? First I have to make sure I take Trina to his house, but after that, why don't we go to my house and talk? Michael suggested, and when I was going to say something, Ben interrupted me. Ben? Sure. Ben said. Gwen? Sounds good to me. Gwen said. Uma? I like the way it sounds. Rainer said. Kevin? I can't wait. Kevin said sarcastically. Issei. Well, not me, I know what horrible things there will be. I said, not wanting to come, but the majority has spoken. Uma? The majority has spoken, you manage, Issei. Said Rainer, and we saw how Michael flied Trina to his house and I saw the mark that was on his arm. I swear on Ria's life that if he comes close to Gwen, I'm going to kill him. Issei. Guys, I don't know if it's a good idea to trust Michael, we barely know him, and the guy gives me a bad feeling. I said, distrusting Michael. Then. You're only saying that because he gets along with you, Uma, and you don't, plus Michael was in Seattle when we were fighting the plant dragon. Ben said. Issei. That's not why, I don't trust Michael, and it's better for Gwen to stay away from him. I said. Gwen. Don't be like that, Issei, hating you, Uma, is one thing, but hating Michael is already overkill. Gwen said, and she and Ben went inside the car. Uma. Michael is a good person, Issei, and maybe I'll ask him to go out with me and be my boyfriend, well you can walk back to Bellwood, cretin. Uma said, closing the car door like a beast. Issei, are you also going to sing the 40s to me, Kevin? Do it, I deserve it. I said. Kevin. Yes, because you treat Uma like the person you hate most on the planet, and no, because I'm right about Michael, you have to keep your eyes open in case of any circumstances. Kevin said. Issei. Kevin, can I ask you a question? I asked. Kevin. Sure, tell me. Kevin said. Issei. When you and Rainer were in the void, did an alien prisoner named Quarrel speak to you? I asked Kevin about the late Quarrel. Kevin. Yes, and let's say that if it wasn't for him, I would still be a monster and Uma would still be a murderous fallen angel. Quarrel was like a father to me, since I don't remember mine well, he died when he was a child and Uma hates his since he murdered his mother. Kevin said, mentioning his late father Devin Levin, and also that Rainer hated his father, who knows who it was. Issei. Rainer's father killed his mother? I did not know that. I said, surprised at that detail. Kevin. She didn't tell me much, but she saw with her own eyes how her mother was murdered at the hands of her father and that he abused her all her childhood. I don't know anymore. Kevin said. Issei. Thank you, Kevin, you've helped me a lot. I said, and we got in the car and went straight to Michael Estelor's mansion. Michael. Mom and her new husband live in the main house, they leave me alone and I do what I want. Said Michael, damn liar. Ben. Good. Ben said. Michael. After you. Michael said to Gwen and Rainer, and let them in first, then Ben and finally me and Kevin, but we received the door in the face. How I hate Michael Stellar. Ben. What is all this? Ben asked when he saw Michael's father's plumber's equipment. Michael. My father's plumbing equipment, I brought it from his headquarters. Michael said. Uma. I wonder how long it took you to carry all this out. Rainer asked. Michael. About 20 minutes or something like that, if you want I can take you there if you want. Michael said, and Rainer blushed, and when I saw that my blood boiled, but what am I saying? Ben. Of course we want to see it. Ben said. Kevin. Oh yeah, what a great idea. Kevin said sarcastically. Issei, yes, but do it without me. I said with a stupid tone. Michael. Whatever you want, come, I'll show you something. Michael said and showed Gwen and Rainer the huge screen in front of them. Uma. How big? Rainer said. Michael. I'm connected to the plumber's central network, which is connected to everything. Global and interplanetary internet, engagement frequencies, and of course, a license plate communicator channel. Michael said, damn smart guy, I would like to cut your neck with Zenovia's sword if I were here. Kevin. Did you say communicator channel? Kevin asked, surprised. Michael. Yes, you knew that plates are communicators, didn't you? Michael asked. Issei. I do, but apparently Kevin doesn't. I said. When? Do you keep an eye on things with this team and use powers to help people? You're like the neighborhood superhero. Gwen said, and Michael felt flattered, but I know how that guy really acts. Michael. I hadn't thought about it like that, but I think so. Michael said. Uma, wow, I like you more now, Michael. Rainer said, and now I really want to break Michael's legs, but Kevin stopped me. Kevin. Not yet, Issei. Kevin whispered. Ben. Do you know what I think? Ben asked Michael. Kevin. I only know what Issei and I think. Kevin said between his teeth, and I agreed that we should kill Michael. Ben. You should join our team. Ben said, and I know that's a very bad idea. Issei. Bad idea, Ben, I don't trust him, it's enough for us to have Raynor as a nuisance, but having two nuisances is too much. I said. You're just jealous of Michael, Issei, since he treats me well and you don't. Raynor said, defending Black Star. Heaven. Also, Ben, are you sure about what you're saying? Don't you think we should get to know him a little more? Kevin asked. Ben. I don't believe it, he has powers and he has equipment. Ben said. Issei. Yes, and he leaves a trace when he flies. I said. Ben. And that's what Grandpa entrusted us with. Ben said. Yes, I remember hearing that in the message. Raynor said and clung to Michael's arm. Ben. My grandfather Max was a plumber and he disappeared when he was investigating the conspiracy against the Earth. We want to find him so we can stop the advance. Do you want to help? Ben asked Michael, and the villain looked towards Gwen and Raynor. Michael. Yes, I would love to. Michael said, but suddenly the power went out and came back on again thanks to the mansion's emergency generator. Kevin. Hey, dude, did you forget to pay the bill? Kevin asked. Michael. The electricity has been a little unstable lately, don't worry, my emergency generator has already turned on. Michael said, and I know it has to do with the zombified girls who fell victim to Rubio. Ben. This isn't normal, look at this spike in energy usage at the power plant. The energy leak is huge. Ben said, watching on the screen. Michael. Really? Michael asked, seeing that the energy level is red. Ben. You said that something strange was happening in the town, I think this is possible. Ben said. Gwen. If you need to review, we will help you. Gwen said. Yes, consider it a gesture of good friendship. Raynor said, blushing. Michael. Thank you, I appreciate it and we will do it. Michael said, and before Gwen and Raynor walked out the door they saw a strange mark on their arms. Hey, Gwen, since when do you have a tattoo? Raynor asked when she saw the mark on Gwen's arm. Gwen. I say the same thing about you, I don't know where it comes from. Gwen said, and the two of them left the Star Mansion, and I saw the marks on their arms. Michael Esteller, you're a dead man. It took us 10 minutes to reach the power station, and we saw that the lock was forced open, and I know that they are the zombified girls who fell victim to Michael. Ben. Be careful, we have company. Ben said. Issei. Yes, undesirable company, rather. I said, and we entered inside the power plant and we heard humming noises. Michael. You can hear a buzzing like in the old monster movies. Michael said, and Raynor clung to the blonde's arm. Kevin. Whenever you hear a sound that has to do with a horror movie it's a good idea to keep walking. Kevin said. Ben. Good hypothesis. Ben said, and we saw a zombified girl absorb electricity, and when she saw us she tried to throw an electric box at us to hurt us, but Gwen stopped her with a shield of mana, and Raynor threw a spear of light at her, but she failed to hit her target, and it was worse when 3 more zombie girls came. Issei. The girls here are kind of weird. I said. Michael. They wear uniforms from my school, but I don't recognize them. Said Michael, and we saw how a zombie girl tried to hit us with a metal pole, and Michael used his powers to stop them. Ben. Energy, excellent, Ben said. Michael. Don't hurt them, maybe we can reverse them, whatever it is. Michael said, and we saw how the zombie girls ran to attack us, and we dodged them, and Kevin absorbed metal from a pipe and beat them up. Ben and I had it easy, but almost the zombie girl hit us against an electrical box and tore out the cables to electrocute us. Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Megachrome and Diamond Head. Ben Megachrome, Ben shouted like Megachroma. Issei Diamantino, I shouted like Diamantino. The zombie girl attacked Ben with the electric cable, but he is not affected since Megachrome can absorb energy. Ben Megachroma, that won't work, I'm a driver. Ben said, and released the electricity that he absorbed, and the zombie girl was electrocuted. I threw flurries of diamonds at the girls and zombie like Diamantino, and I knocked them out with a left hook. Issei Diamantino, oh yes, I'm the Kane, I didn't even need to use the dress break for anything. I said. Michael was throwing his bursts of light at the girls from the sky, and Raynor was giving him a hand in her fallen angel form, and seeing them fight together made me angry, like I cared about that damn shitty fallen angel. Gwen trapped the zombie girls in a mononet, but they were freed since the mark that the blonde gave her weakened her, and she collapsed to the ground, and Raynor and Michael went down to the ground to see if she was okay. Gwen, Raynor said, worried about Gwen. Michael. Are you okay? The villain asked. Gwen. I don't know, I felt weak for a second, but now I feel better around you. Gwen said, looking at Michael. Thank goodness. Yuma said. Michael. Hold my hands, use my energy. Said Michael, energizing Gwen and Raynor with his powers. Gwen used her enhanced mana powers on the zombified girls and they were defeated, and Raynor and Michael used their respective powers to make the pipes fall, but the zombified girls ran away scared when the pipes fell to the ground, and we came running to see what happened, and I know that the blonde villain let them escape on purpose. Kevin. Great, well done, they're escaping, Kevin said angrily. Michael. I'm sorry. Michael said. Uma. It wasn't your fault, Michael, I did it wrong too. Raynor said, clinging to Michael's arm and blushing, and Ben and I reverted back to our human forms. Ben. It's okay, we all make mistakes, the important thing is that we stop them before what they were doing, of course, and we will improve as we work. Ben said. Michael. The three of us make a good team. Michael said to Gwen and Raynor, and they nodded to what the blonde was telling them, and I was already fed up with Michael and Kevin too. Kevin. What's going on here, you looked at him like you were going to faint, Kevin said angrily, and Gwen ignored him. Issei. Gwen, Raynor, don't fall for that blonde womanizer, he's evil, I said, trying to make Gwen and Raynor see reason. Uma. Leave me alone, Issei, Michael is at least good to me and calls me by my real name unlike you who only want to see me dead, Raynor said. Ben. Issei, stop being so rude to Uma and Michael especially. Ben said, and I decided to ignore him. Gwen. Still, thank you very much for helping me. Gwen said. Uma. How do we thank you? Uma asked Al Rubio. Michael. Would you like to have dinner with me? Michael asked the two girls. Gwen. Now? Gwen asked. Uma. Sure. Raynor asked. Michael. I'm hungry, aren't you? Michael asked. Gwen. I was going to suggest exactly the same thing. Gwen said. Uma. It's done then. Raynor said, but Kevin and I didn't like it at all. Kevin, okay, what's wrong with you, Gwen? You've been ignoring me since we got here, you were bad in the fight and now you and Uma are acting stupid, Kevin said angrily. Gwen. Why do you make me think you're interested in me? You're behaving exactly the same as Issei treats Uma, Gwen said. Uma. Get lost, Kevin, especially you, Issei, Uma said, and she, Gwen and Michael left. Gwen. Bye, Gwen said, and the three of them left. Issei, aren't you going to do anything, Ben? I asked angrily. Ben. Absolutely nothing, I'm going to the car. Ben said and went to Kevin's car. Kevin. Issei, and I don't trust that guy. Kevin said. Issei. And I don't think it was a good decision to make him part of the team, I said. Ben. Admit it, you're both jealous that Gwen and Uma like Michael and that with him, Uma feels very happy. Ben said. Kevin. You know what? Alright, said Kevin, already fed up. Issei. And I'm not jealous of Michael, the guy is a creepy snake who only sees women as trophies, especially Uma-chan, I said, and I didn't realize that I said Uma-chan instead of Raynor. It took us 10 minutes to return to the Star Mansion, and because of the trip I thought that Raynor must have changed and that it was thanks to Quarrel, but I will not let myself be fooled by feelings from the past. Raynor damaged me both physically and mentally, she destroyed my life, and alone I want to kill her, but deep down, I still harbor feelings towards Raynor, and that maybe I should have saved her from Rias before she was sent to hell and went over to our side, but that's a thing of the past and the past can't even be changed, you can't even continue living in it. Upon arriving at the Star Mansion, Kevin absorbed the metal of the knob and jabbed his finger inside the lock and broke it trying to force the door open, and Ben didn't like what he saw at all. Ben. Is that why you agreed to let Mike go out with Gwen and Uma, to spy on him? Ben asked irritably. Kevin. Yes. Kevin said. Ben. Well, stop, Ben said. Issei. No, Kevin, continue, we have to unmask Michael as the villain that he is. I said to Kevin and he nodded. Ben. Don't encourage him, Issei, Ben said. Issei. No, what we do now is the right thing. I said. Kevin. Issei's right, something's not right with him, if you don't want to check it, Issei and I do. Kevin said. Ben. You're making a big mistake, Kevin, just like old Kevin, stay away from the door. Ben said. Issei. You're not innocent either, Ben, don't you remember what he went through with feedback, or did you forget it? I said to Ben, reminding him of what he went through with feedback, and Ben got angry. Ben. That has nothing to do with feedback, Issei, Ben said. Issei, are you looking for a fight, Ben? You will have it right now, I said, preparing my fists to hurt Ben, but Kevin got in the way and stopped us. Kevin. Before the two of you start a cockfight, think for a second. Ben, you want to form a team, but because of that new guy, you don't know how to be a leader, and you, Issei, must learn to forgive Uma for everything she has done, you forgave me, do it with her too. By the way, I managed to open the door and you say I learned nothing in a vacuum. Kevin said. Ben. Kevin. Ben said, but we heard someone behind and we saw that she was Trina, the girl we saved on the highway. Trina. Excuse me, is Mike at home? He hasn't called me since you and the new girls arrived. Trina asked for Michael. Kevin. Trina, right. Yes, you see Michael isn't here. Kevin said to Trina. Issei. We're picking up something he asked us to bring him. I said to Trina. Trina. So you'll know where it is, can you take me? Trina asked, desperate to see the blonde cretin. Ben. No, well, he's busy. Ben said, and I saw how Trina was shaking non-stop. Issei. And he doesn't want to be bothered until we bring it to him. I said, lying to Trina. Trina. I need to see him, why doesn't he want to see me? Trina said desperately, and Kevin saw the marks on his arms. I'm going to kill that bastard like Jack's threat to kill Baron Praxis in Jack 2. The renegade. Kevin. Why do you have those marks on your arm? Kevin asked when he saw the marks on Trina's right arm, and he has no idea, unfortunately. Issei. Okay, enough, Michael is a dead man. I said, enraged in my thoughts, and I only think about saving Gwen and Yuma from Michael now. Kevin. I saw marks like that on the zombie girl who tried to attack me. Kevin said. Trina. I just want to see Mike, Trina said desperately. Issei. Yes, we understand, be patient please. I said, trying to calm Trina, and asked Kevin to continue his explanation. Kevin. Call me crazy, but it's possible that Michael is the one who does that to girls. Kevin said. Ben. Are you crazy? Ben said. Issei. Excuse us, Trina, but it's a private conversation, don't be offended. I said, and he understood and stepped aside so that Kevin, Ben and I could continue our talk about Estrella Negra. Kevin. Ben, Issei, it hadn't occurred to me until now, but Gwen is wearing her sleeves lower than usual, and Yuma grabbed my jacket from the trunk to hide her arms, they were hiding something. Kevin said, and Ben saw the marks on Trina's arms. Ben. Are you saying that Gwen and Yuma also have those marks on her arms? Ben asked. Kevin. I didn't see them, but it sounds logical. Kevin said. Issei. Well, your logic has not failed you, Kevin, you are right. I said. Ben. Kevin, Issei, think about it, Trina was helpless when we first saw her on the road. Ben said, and we nodded. Issei. Yes and no, it was a coincidence. I said. Ben. Gwen and Yuma were the same at the power plant. Gwen and Yuma were able to catch the virus that's causing this, Ben said, realizing what was happening. Issei. Yes, and the virus is called Stellar Michael, we have to save them before it's too late, I said, and the three of us went to the car to stop Michael. Of Yuma. When Michael and I were in an empty warehouse in the middle of a lake after our dinner, and I must admit that I'm falling in love with Michael, and that maybe he feels the same way about me, and that it was time to forget about Issei, and how horrible he was to me, and I noticed the pink bracelet that she was wearing, and I remembered that that small object is my most precious possession, and that it reminds me of our date a long time ago, and that I still love her too much, and I don't know whether to choose Issei or Mike as my boyfriend. But I'm still insecure, and along the way I felt weaker than normal, and I remembered in the marks that I, Gwen and the zombified girls had, and that Issei was right about Michael being evil, but I want to forget about him. I'm going to asking Mike to be my boyfriend, and I'll forget about Issei Hyoudou forever. I can already imagine what my relationship with Mike will be like. Dating, asking me to marry him, starting a family, having babies and growing all together, what a joy, but I can't getting Issei out of my head no matter how much I want to forget about him. Michael. It was nice meeting you, Gwen and Yuma. Michael said. Gwen. Me too. Gwen said. Yuma. Tonight was magical, Mike. I said to my Prince Charming. Michael. I knew there was something special from the first time I saw you too. I said. Gwen. I felt it too. Gwen said. Yuma. Oh Michael, I wanted to ask you something, if you don't mind, right? I asked Michael, and I noticed that the palm of his hands had sharp teeth, and that scares me a little. Michael. Then, Yuma, well, where was I going? Yes, now, all those girls don't mean anything. Said Michael, and he took her hands with a sharp mouth in Gwen's arms, and he began to absorb her. Yuma. Michael, what are you doing? I asked, scared when I saw what the boy I fell in love with was doing. Michael. Don't worry, Yuma, you'll be next. Michael said in an evil tone, and that made me realize that Issei was right all along. Michael is evil, and I noticed how my heart had broken. Michael. Your energy isn't like anything I've felt before. When it runs through me, I feel invincible, said Michael, showing the true nature of him. Yuma. Stop, Michael the first said, but he bit me with his other arm, and I noticed how my powers were weakening. Michael. From the moment I touched you, Gwen and Yuma, I knew I had found the girls I always waited for. Said Michael, and I noticed how his eyes started to shine, and his skin turned gold, and everything before me turned black, and I could only say one thing. Yuma. Issei, help me. I said, shedding a tear. Of Issei. Heaven was driving as fast as he could to get to the lake where Michael, Gwen and Yuma were, so we can save them from the evil blonde womanizer. Now what counts as saving Rainer and Gwen and giving Michael his well-deserved punishment, but Ben constantly complains. Ben. You and Issei have been against Michael since we met him. Ben said. Kevin. Yes, but at first it was because he's a very arrogant rich kid, Kevin said, showing his contempt towards Michael. Issei. Yes, and because he looks like a cheap and evil copy of my friend Hyoudou, who is also popular among girls in my world, but Kiba is someone you can trust unlike Michael Starr. I said, comparing the differences between Michael and Kiba. Ben. You're just saying because Gwen and Yuma like Michael more than you guys. Ben said. Kevin. Yeah, kind of, but now, Gwen and Yuma are in trouble and you're too obsessed with your grandfather's instructions to watch it. Kevin said, trying to make Ben see his mistake. Ben. If Mike turns those girls into those creatures, why isn't Trina one? Ben asked. Kevin. I don't know, maybe he's like a vampire and maybe it'll take a long time before he's a zombie. Kevin said. Issei, good theory Kevin. I said to Kevin. Ben. Are you listening? Mike has helped us since we got here because he fought against them. Ben said, defending Michael. Issei. He didn't do it, Ben, remember? He told us not to hurt them, then he accidentally shot the pipes and let them escape. Mike is behind all of this and right now at this moment, he's doing something horrible to Gwen and Yuma. I said, worried for the first time about the fallen angel. Ben. Even if you and Kevin are right, we don't know where they went to dinner, how can we find them? Ben asked and Kevin took out the plumber's badge from him. Kevin. Easy, we'll find it. Kevin said and activated the holographic map to locate Michael's license plate and we arrived at the warehouse near the lake. Issei. It's here. I said. Kevin. The road where we found Trina is that way, she didn't appear on that road by coincidence, she was trying to escape from Michael. Kevin said, putting all the pieces together. Ben. Let's take a break from your hallucinations and find Gwen and Yuma. Ben said, and when we went down the stairs we saw that we were late and that Michael turned gold and Gwen and Yuma were like the zombie girls. Issei. Gwen Yuma, I screamed when I saw what Michael's bastard had done to them and the aforementioned guy shot Ben and me with his light powers. Kevin. Stay away from them, Kevin said, and he absorbed the ground to attack Michael, and they also hit him and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Jet Ray and XLR8. Then Jet Ray. Issei XLR8, XLR8. Ben and I used our powers to attack Michael, but we didn't do anything to him and he snapped us out of our transformations. Michael. Gwen and Yuma are mine, said Michael, but Kevin attacked him, but the aforesaid dodged all his blows and hit Kevin with a powerful burst of light and knocked him out. Issei. You won't get away with this, Michael the first said, very hurt and spitting out blood. Michael. You can't handle me, why use your powers to help people when you can use them for whatever you want? Michael said, and behind him came 5 zombified girls. Issei. Son of a bitch, I said, still very hurt. Michael. All I wanted was some power and you brought me Gwen and Yuma. I think I should thank you and I have a great idea. Said Michael, pointing at the huge metal box that he had on the roof, and he thought about killing us by letting it fall towards us. Yuma. Not this time, Michael Stellar, you won't hurt my friends anymore, especially Issei, Yuma said in a weak state, and she and Gwen touched Michael to overload him with his own powers. Michael. What are you doing? Michael asked. Gwen. Using reason, Gwen said. Michael. No, stop, Michael said. Yuma. Not this time, Michael, now we will give you your deserved punishment, Cretin, Yuma said, and the sharp mouths on Michael's hands were destroyed, and Michael became overloaded with power and exploded, and we saw how his skin turned gray like a raisin. Gwen. Ben, Kevin, Gwen said, going next to her friends. Yuma. Issei said Yuma, going with Gwen to where Ben, Kevin and I were, and we saw Michael's angry face. Michael. Girls, come with me, give me your power, help me, feed me. Michael said to the zombie girls, but instead of helping him they assaulted him to recover his normal form, and there was a second explosion, and Michael's zombie victims returned to normal, and we saw how Black Star was now. Kevin and Yuma approached Michael and Kevin took off Michael's plumber's badge and absorbed the metal into it and crushed it by squeezing it. Kevin. You don't deserve this, Kevin said, squeezing Michael's plumber's badge. Yuma approached Michael and decided to give the enemy of all women the punishment he deserved. Yuma. I loved you, Michael, but the only thing I have in my heart now is hate for you, you damn son of a shit, Yuma shouted with tears in her eyes, and she kicked Michael in the crotch, and that made him scream in unbearable pain. Michael. Oh my groin, Michael shouted in a Mickey Mouse voice, and all the girls went back to their things and forgot about Michael, and seeing him suffer so much put a smile on my face, and I went to comfort Yuma, and I told Ben and the others, let them go without me and Yuma, and we will come later, and they nodded. Issei. Are you feeling better? I asked the fallen angel and she hugged me while he cried. Yuma. I was so afraid, I thought Michael was a good person, but he turned out to be a damn womanizer with a hunger for power. You were right, Issei, and I didn't want to listen, Yuma said, crying on my shoulder. Issei. Yuma, what counts now is that you and Gwen are safe and that guy will never hurt you or any other woman again. As long as I live, I will protect you. I said I was calling Yuma for the first time by her name, and she was surprised that I was calling her by her name instead of her fallen angel name. Yuma. Issei, you called me by my name, didn't you? You called me Yuma and not Rainer. Yuma said. Issei. I decided to maybe give you a chance and see if what Kevin told me was true and that the void changed you, Yuma. I said, and I saw how the full moon reflected Yuuma's violet eyes, and I couldn't help but think about how beautiful Yuuma's eyes were under the moonlight, and I felt lost in them. Yuuma. Issei, are you okay? Yuuma asked, and I came to my senses. Issei. Yes, sorry, I was thinking about other things. I said to the beautiful fallen angel. Yuuma. It's okay, come on, let's go back home. If you want, I'll let you sleep in my apartment tonight, right? Yuuma suggested me. Issei. With pleasure, Yuuma-chan. I said to Yuuma, and we walked back to Bellwood, and Yuuma held my hand, and I liked how he felt. Issei. Normally I'm not so nice to Rainer, but knowing that she was in danger I didn't hesitate to want to save her. Am I falling in love with her? I said in my thoughts when I saw the fallen angel that I decided to forgive. Well, it was our turn returned to Bellwood walking. Issei and Yuuma decided to forgive the past and start over, and who knows, maybe in the future the two of them will become a couple, and we hope Ben doesn't accept people he doesn't know on the team without knowing their true intentions. The next chapter will be a meeting with destiny. Chapter 06. Reunion with Grandpa Max saving Ken Tennyson. Normal POV. In the town of Santa Mira where it was pouring rain, Max Tennyson, Ben and Gwen's paternal grandfather, is seen walking into a coffee shop to order a cup of coffee. A waitress came to take his order. Waitress ADN, do you want the special? The waitress asked Max. Max. Just coffee. Max said. Waitress ADN, there aren't many strangers around here, what brings you to Santa Mira? The waitress asked. Max. Great weather, great fishing. Max said, and the waitress was surprised to hear the word fishing. Waitress ADN, we don't have fish here and it's rainy season. Said the waitress and brought Max a tray with something inside. Max. So I was misinformed. Max said and saw the tray. Waitress DNA, here's the special one about him. Said the waitress, leaving the tray on the table. Max. I didn't ask for that. Max said. Waitress ADN, invite the house. The waitress said and removed the lid of the tray, and what was there was a xenocyte. The xenocyte proceeded to attack Max, but he punched him away, and the waitress proceeded to attack Max from his back, but the elderly plumber headbutted the waitress and smiled sinisterly. Max. You're too strong a woman, what are you? Max said and took off the mask from the waitress, who turned out to be a DNA. Max attacked DNA by crashing him back into a table and leaving him KO. The xenocyte tried to attack Max and turn him into a DNA, but the old man picked up a coffee pot that was on the counter and smashed the parasite's head into it, killing it in the process. Max. I said just coffee. Max said. Issei. Me, Ben and Kevin were at a car wash to go to the next place, but Ben first asked Kevin to help him look for his cousin Ken, Gwen's older brother, who had disappeared a couple of days ago and was going to return home. Kevin. No, I'm going to explain it better, no. Kevin said. Ben. Come on, Kevin, it's my cousin, he was supposed to get home 2 days ago. Ben said, trying to convince Kevin to look for Ken. Kevin. And you want me to waste my time driving my car looking for your cousin? Kevin asked indignantly. Issei. I know how it sounds, but the police said to wait, but the truth is, Ben doesn't know where he is. I said, remembering the event when Ben and Gwen told me what happened to Ken. Kevin. He's possibly partying, he's just a college student. Kevin said. Ben. No, he called when he was coming and said his car broke down in a town called Santa Mira. We haven't heard anything from him, and we're worried. Ben said. Kevin. And I'm supposed to care about him, why? Kevin said, but Gwen finished for the emotion. Gwen. Because he's my brother. Gwen said, and along with her was Yuuma with worried faces. Kevin. Come on. Kevin said, convinced, and we got in the car, and Yuuma looked on the map on his cell phone that Santa Mira was 2 hours from Bellwood. Yuuma. Hey, Issei, didn't you notice something? Yuuma asked, whispering something in my ear. Issei. What? I asked the fallen angel. Yuuma. That the names of Ben, Gwen and Ken rhyme. Yuuma said, mentioning that detail. Issei. And you realize now, I already knew that for a long time. I said. Ben. What are you talking about? Ben asked me and Yuuma. Issei. Nothing important. I said. Yuuma, yes, trivial things. Yuuma said. Ben. Okay, but I'm really glad that you two get along better now and that you don't want to kill each other. Ben said. Gwen. Yes, I would never believe that the two of you would leave your differences behind and become friends. Gwen said when she saw that I forgave Yuuma. Issei. I decided to forgive the past and give Yuuma a chance. There is no point in holding a grudge against someone who regrets their past. I said. Yuuma. Yes, and just like Ben forgave Kevin, Issei forgave me. Yuuma said. Gwen. That's good, still, thank you, Kevin. Ken is, Gwen said, but Kevin interrupted her when he heard his brother's name. Kevin. What, Ken? Is your brother's name Ken? Gwen and Ken Tennyson. What are your parents' names? Sven and Jen. And then you, Ben. Kevin says, making fun of Ben and Gwen's names that rhyme with each other, and Yuuma giggled at that topic. Issei. Yes, yes, very funny, Kevin. I said. Ben. Yes, our names rhyme and you noticed it, how clever. Ben said irritably. I noticed it first. Yuma said. Kevin. I'm just having fun, guys, I don't know what the big deal is. Kevin said. I'm interested in knowing about Ken, if you don't mind him, Gwen. Yuma said. Gwen. Okay, Ken took Ben to his first soccer game, when his band played he put a friend and me behind the stage, Ken is the nicest guy in the world. Gwen said, and it shows that he has a lot of affection for his older brother. Issei. It's obvious that you love him very much, Gwen, I had him with my grandfather Juzo Hyoudou when he was a child, but he died 10 years ago. I said about my paternal grandfather and that I still miss him a lot. We arrived in Santa Mira even with the rain on our noses. Kevin. For someone who's cool, he picked a pretty ugly place to spend his vacation. Kevin said. Yes, and the place is quite gloomy. Yuma said, somewhat scared. Gwen. Ken's great and he doesn't pick where the supermobile breaks down. Gwen said about Ken's car. Kevin. Did you say supermobile? Kevin asked. Ben. His car, I told you so, is great. Ben said. Yes, there is no doubt. Yuma said. Issei. I say we look for mechanics, we'll find his car and Ken. I said. Kevin. Good idea, but how many mechanics do you think there are in this place, Hyoudou? Kevin asked. Issei. 5, and I know this is the right one, go left and then straight. I said to Kevin, and we arrived at the mechanic shop where Ken's car is. Kevin. 5. 5 mechanic shops in a horrible town, only 5. Kevin said, and we got out of the car and Yuma took an umbrella out of the trunk to avoid getting wet. Ben. 5 so far and the supermobile isn't in, I found it, Ben said, and we saw Ken's car, for God's sake, it's a complete mess, seriously, Ken, you don't know what a car wash is. Kevin. Is that the supermobile? That thing makes the tart on it to look like a Ferrari, Kevin said when he saw Ken's car, and I must admit, it's pure junk. Gwen. They're already closed, we have to wait. Gwen said, and Kevin stormed the door like an angry bull and forced entry. Hey, Kevin, have you gone crazy? They will force us to pay a money fine for breaking the door, Yuma said when he saw what Kevin did. Kevin. Don't worry, Ken's nice, he'll be happy to pay this. Kevin said. Issei, I doubt it, Kevin. I said, and we went inside the workshop and we saw in Ken's car that there were dirty clothes that will not be washed for days and will smell like a skunk eating beans. Kevin. Dirty clothes for his mother to wash, this guy is a loser. Kevin said. At least he has a mother. Yuma said with a sad pout. Gwen. But there must be a clue to finding Ken. Gwen said, looking under the seats of Ken's car. Issei. Maybe he left a note. I said, and I saw how Kevin opened the hood of the supermobile and found some kind of alien device in the car battery. Ben. What is it? Ben asked. Kevin. The only thing that's not covered in dust. Alien technology projects a field that creates internal combustion. Kevin said. His car was sabotaged, that's why he's standing here in Santa Mira. Yuma said. Ben. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense, Ken doesn't know anything about aliens, who would go after him? Ben asked, and I saw that there was slime, and I know that was the work of the DNAs. Gwen. Wow, that's disgusting, what is that? Gwen asked, disgusted, and Ben's Omnitrix and mine started beeping. Ben. I don't know, but the Omnitrix doesn't like it at all. Ben said. Issei. Yes, and I think they will tell us. I said, pointing to 2 DNAs disguised as humans with a box in their hands. Man1ADN, what are you doing in my garage? DNA asked in a macabre way. Man2DNA, if you want, we can call the police. DNA said to his partner. Issei, yes, it will be the best, Shem. I said, reading the label with his name on the jacket. Ben. And I bet you're interested in what happened to the guy who drove this car. Ben said. Man DNA, what are you talking about? How will we know? He left the car, we fixed it and he never came back. DNA said, and we heard how Kevin tried to start the engine, but he wouldn't start the car, and that confirms that they were lying. Yuma. So you fixed it, huh? Yuma asked suspiciously. Shem. Yes, we wanted to fix it, but we were busy. Shem said, without knowing that Gwen was looking at the contents of the box, and what she saw, she didn't like it at all. Gwen. More slime. Gwen said when she saw the slime. Ben. Okay, enough, what's that thing? What was there? Ben asked, and we saw that the lightning revealed the true shape of the DNAs. Kevin. Look at them, they're those disgusting aliens. Kevin said. Yuma. DNAs, I knew it, said Yuma, taking out a spear of light, and the 2 DNAs started by throwing projectiles of slime towards us, and they hit everyone except me, and we saw that they took out their masks to reveal their true form, and Ben and I proceeded to activate our Omnitrix, and we transform into human Gauss or in 4 arms. Then human Gaussor. Issei forearms. Gwen freed herself from the slimes with her mana and hit a burst of mana at one of the DNAs, and Ben roared like a beast at the DNAs to intimidate them, and I dealt blow after blow to the enemies that killed one of them. They ended up KO. And the other tried to escape but he didn't count on colliding with Kevin in a metal mantle and he fell KO. Kevin. It's a work accident, you can sue. Kevin said. Yuma. We have them, now what? Yuma asked and Ben and I transformed back into humans. Issei. To a cafeteria. I said, and before we left I cured the DNAs, and in the process I erased their memories, and we went to the cafeteria where Max ran into a DNA disguised as a waitress. Gwen. I thought if we traced Ken's footsteps, we'd find proof but there's nothing here. Gwen said, but I pointed to the truck that was in the parking lot and we saw a DNA in handcuffs and the same box that was in the DNA mechanic's shop and I know that Max has been here. Yuma. Alright, scum, start talking, Gwen said, taking a piece of Max's Hawaiian shirt out of the alien's mouth, and the Omnitrix beeped again. Ben. What's wrong with the Omnitrix? Ben asked, but I pretended to have no idea. Ben's Omnitrix. Unknown DNA acquired. Ben's Omnitrix said. Ben. That's new and it's usually yours, Issei. Ben said. Issei. Well, now there are two of us. I said. Gwen. Ben, Issei, you're going to want to see this. Gwen said, picking up the piece of Max's shirt, and she showed it to us. Issei. It's a piece of Max's Hawaiian shirt. I said. Yuma. From the old man who sent me into the void. Yuma asked and received a slap from Gwen and used her mana powers to bring the DNA closer to us. Gwen. Tell us who tied you up. Now Gwen asked the DNA angrily. DNA. Max Tennyson was trying to find a boy. DNA said. Yuma. Where is she if you don't want to end up impaled? Yuma threatened DNA with a spear of light. ADN. I don't know, he tied me up and left me here. DNA said. Gwen. It wasn't him, he can't take care of himself, where is my brother? Gwen asked for Ken. DNA. In the hatchery. DNA said and we went to the hatchery without first curing DNA and erasing the memories of him. Meanwhile at the kennel, 18-year-old Kenneth Marcus Tennyson, Ken to his friends, was tied to a chair and being interrogated by DNA if he didn't tell him where his grandfather Max was. Ken. Look, I told you, I have no idea where my grandfather is, I don't know anything. Ken said to DNA. DNA. I believe you. DNA said. Ken. What or who are you? Ken asked scared. ADN. I'm glad you asked, Ken, I think the best way to get to know someone is to walk a mile in their shoes. Said DNA, taking a Xenocide out of the box to transform Ken. Ken. What is that? Ken asked scared. DNA. My shoes. Said the DNA and put the Xenocide in Ken's face and transformed him into one of them, and the last thing that was heard were Ken's panicked screams. Back with us, we had arrived at the hatchery and we had to find Ken and Max, but I know that Ken had been transformed right now and we will have to save him. We saw that there was a hole in the fence, we went inside and saw the pile of green water where the Xenocide eggs were incubated. Kevin. I'm wet and I'm cold, Kevin said irritated. Yuma, you're not the only one, Kevin, a Rainer sneezed. Issei. Of course, there are weather machines, the DNAs operate in cold climates and that's why there is so much rain. I said pointing to the climate towers. Gwen. How will we get in without being discovered? Gwen asked and Ben motioned for us to swim into the green water. Kevin. You've got to be kidding me. Kevin said. Yuma. No way, I left my bikini in my apartment, I'm not going to go in there, Yuma said, but I pushed her inside and we all got inside. Meanwhile, Max managed to enter the hatchery unnoticed until one of the DNAs discovered him and just when he was going to sound the alarm, Max punched him in the face and took out a vacuum projector to lock him up. He arrived at the interrogation room where his grandson Ken was and saw that there were two DNAs standing guard and started whistling to get his attention and managed to knock them out. And he ended up sending them into the void and used his plumber's badge to open the door and saw his grandson semi-transformed into a DNA. Ken. Grandpa Max, help me. Ken pleaded with his grandfather. Max. Kenny, calm down, I'm here, Max said, and Ken electrocuted his paternal grandfather with a taser to knock him out. And he smiled sinisterly. Back with us, we were swimming in the green water and I must admit that apart from being cold, it is disgusting and makes me want to throw up, but I know we have to save Ken. Kevin. Next time you and Issei ask me for a favor, I won't do it. Kevin said. Yuma. Yes, and especially the ones where I soak myself in cold, disgusting green water. Yuma said disgusted. Gwen. You look like babies, my brother is there captured by DNAs, Gwen said. Kevin. At least your brother's dry, this smells like what was that? Kevin asked. Yuma. I noticed it too. Said Yuma and we noticed that Gwen ended up trapped by Xenocides and ended up being dragged down under the water. Yuma. Gwen, no, Yuma said. Meanwhile again with Max, he was taken prisoner by two aliens and brought before a Supreme, who was in charge of the facilities. Supreme. Max Tennyson, you've been active in your retirement. The Supreme said to Max. Max. It's just a hobby now, people my age must be active. Max said. Supreme. You've been a big problem for us, and you've delayed our plans. El Supremo said. Max. It's obvious that you produce these parasites here. Said Max pointing to the xenocyte boxes. Supreme. Xenocytes, yes. Said the Supreme taking a xenocyte out of a nearby box. Max. And that somehow they transform humans into these ugly things. Max said. Supreme. I'm not complaining, the human half makes them repulsive. Said the Supreme. Max. I just want to know, why? Max asked. Supreme. You will soon know, insect, we are hours away from completing the most important step of our plan. Said the Supreme. Max. But why my grandson? Why Ken? Max asked. Supreme. It was just the bait, with you out of the way, or there is no one who can stop us, said the Supreme. Back with us, we were still looking for Gwen and we couldn't find her, and Ben is starting to worry. Yuma. I can't see absolutely nothing down there, said Yuma, and we only had one last option. Dive to search for Gwen, but we saw a current of mana that could only have been the work of Gwen and it emerged to see us. Gwen. Disgusting, Gwen said. Issei. Yes, very disgusting, come on, we have to help Ken. I said, and we went under the water and we saw the million xenocyte eggs that were there and we better hurry before they hatch, but some of them already came out and one got into Kevin's wrist and luckily he stamped it against the wall. The bad thing was that there were DNAs patrolling the entire place and when they saw us they decided to start fighting against us. Yuma. Great, they discovered us. Yuma said. Kevin. Yes, but now it's time to kick ass. Kevin said, and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Big Chill and Heatlist. Then Big Chill. Issei Heatlist, hell. The battle began and Ben froze some of the DNAs and left them like statues while I threw fireballs at them to burn their butts. Ben cold, I thought you liked the cold. Ben said ironically. Issei Heatlist, they like it, but not at sub-zero temperatures, and apparently I'm too hot for them. I said, making a bad joke. Yuma. Stop the bad jokes, guys, Yuma said in his fallen angel outfit and hit 3 DNAs with his spear. Kevin came out of the water and absorbed the ground and left hook the DNAs, and Gwen was throwing bursts of mana at the enemies and Yuma covered her back at the same time, and we saw one DNA in particular with his face not completely covered by the xenocyte. It was Ken, Gwen's brother. Kevin came out of the water and absorbed the ground and left hook the DNAs, and Gwen was throwing bursts of mana at the enemies and Yuma covered her back at the same time, and we saw one DNA in particular with his face not covered from the two. Yuma was going to hit Ken with his spear of light, but Gwen saw who it was and stopped her. Gwen. Yuma, no, Gwen said to Yuma, and she saw DNA and Kevin was running to hit him, but Yuma stopped him. Yuma. Kevin, no, Yuma said. Kevin. What's wrong with you? I was just following you, Kevin said, and I stopped Ben. Issei Heatlist, Ben, no, that DNA is Ken, I said to Ben, and he saw that the DNA was really his cousin, and the two of us transformed back. Ben. I can't believe it, it's really Ken. Ben said. Yuma. Damn hybrid, sons of bitches, they'll pay for what they did, Yuma said angrily. Kevin. Is that Ken? It's less nice than his car. Kevin said. Issei. Yes, but blame the xenocyte that transformed him into DNA. I said to the Osmotion. Gwen. We must help him. Gwen said. Ben. But he attacked us, what they did to him affected his mind. Ben said. Ken. Whoever did this to me freed me, Ken said, launching a DNA to hit us, but we dodged it, and I know that it is the xenocyte speaking for him and not his own will. Kevin. Let's go get him, Kevin said, and Gwen trapped her brother in a mana vine. Gwen. No, don't hurt him, he's sick, that thing in him makes him do this, Gwen said. Kevin. Then let's free him. Kevin said, trying to remove the xenocyte from Ken's face, but it is rooted to his face and was hurting him when Kevin tried to tear it off. Issei. Kevin, no, you hurt him, I said. Yuma. There has to be a way to cure him, Issei, you do it, cure him and erase his memories. Yuma said, how do you know? Issei. How do you know? I asked. Yuma. I saw you cure the DNAs at the train station when Kevin and I were selling laser spears to the Eternal Knights. Yuma said, and before he could respond, Ben's Omnitrix started beeping. Ben's Omnitrix. Severe genetic damage detected. Ben's Omnitrix said. Ben. Hello. Omnitrix, is it you? Ben asked his Omnitrix. Issei. Right, just at the right time. I said to Ben. Ben's Omnitrix. Genetic code error, do you want to fix it? Ben's Omnitrix asked. Issei. Try to repair Ken. Yes, let's do it. Ben said and put his hand into Ken's head and began to repair his genetic code of the influence of the Xenocyte, and after 2 minutes, Ken became human again and the Xenocyte was in Ben's hand. Yuma. Die, spawn of evil, Yuma said, throwing his spear of light at the Xenocyte, killing him in the process. Ben. I gotta get a manual for this thing. Ben said. Issei. No need, Ben, at least now we can cure the DNAs with our watches. I said to Ben and we went with Ken to help him. Ben. Everything is fine, don't worry. Ben said to his cousin. Yuma. Yes, we're here with you, it's over. Yuma said to Ken. Ken. On the contrary, I captured Grandpa and handed them over to him. I couldn't stop, it was like watching someone else, I felt like an animal out of control. Ken said, sorry for what he did and mentioned Max. Ben. Do you have Grandpa Max? Ben asked horrified. Ken. That's why they captured me, they knew he would come for me, they want him out of the way for their plans, it's terrible. Ken said. Issei. Let's go get him, he needs our help. I said and the others nodded and Ken decided to accompany us, but he felt a little weak and Yuma and Ben carried him with support and finally we arrived at the place where Max was imprisoned and we saw him in the flesh. Max. Ben. Issei. Max asked when he saw his grandchildren, Kevin, Yuma and me in the same place. Ben. Grandpa Max, Ben said, and we freed him from his prison. Max. How nice it is to see you, especially you, Issei, you haven't aged even for a year. Said Max and I must admit, nothing has changed over the last 5 years, 1 month in my world. Issei. The laws of time are different in my world and only 1 month has passed, still, I'm glad to see you again, Max. I said to Max and I even told him that I used his recipes for my friends, but they were disgusted by everything I cooked, especially the gratin babicoles, where Kaneko hit me in the testicles for it. Gwen. Still, I'm glad you're well. Gwen said to her grandfather. Max. Me too, love. Kenny. Max said when he saw his grandson. Ken. Grandpa, I didn't know what I was doing, Ken couldn't continue since his grandpa hugged him. Max. Okay. I always knew you and Issei could do it, Ben, I'm proud of you, of all of you. Especially to you, Kevin and Rainer. Max said. Yuma. How do you know? Yuma asked surprised. Max. I've been watching you, and I want to tell you, Kevin, that maybe you earned that plumber's badge you stole. And to you, Yuma, I always knew that there was goodness in you, and that Issei would end up forgiving you for everything you did. Max said to the 2 ex-villains. Supreme Speaker, attention all staff, start the DNA project now. The Supreme Court ordered the DNAs to prepare the last phase of their nefarious plan, and we saw through the window the trucks that were transporting the xenocide eggs to the entire population of America, and I know that they must be stopped as soon as possible. Ben. What are you doing? Ben asked. Max. They're taking those things somewhere, they're gathering an army. Stop them, Ben and Issei, these xenocides must be destroyed, do it, Max said, and we nodded and we went outside to destroy all the xenocide eggs and prevent them from infecting the entire country, and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Jet Ray and XLR8. Then Jet Ray, then XLR8, XLR8. After 20 minutes we destroyed all the trucks with the xenocide eggs and it was our turn to help Max and we saw the pile of eggs accumulated and created at the same time and that was the most disgusting and creepy thing I have ever seen. We saw Max fighting the Supreme in charge of the facility and we saw that Max was at a disadvantage and that the Supreme was going to kill him. Ken. Let it go, Ken said. Supreme. Back away or he won't breathe again. The Supreme Court threatened to kill Max. Yuma. You are despicable, Yuma said, preparing his spear of light. Ben. Give up, we beat you, your factory is fried, your truck's destroyed, it's over, Ben said. Issei, I don't think so, Ben. I said. Supreme. Your inferior friend is right, Ben Tennyson, it's not over. More trucks can arrive in a matter of hours and my DNAs, the Supreme said, and we saw through the window how thousands of DNAs were outside. Issei. They're here, shit, I said. Supreme. This is the end, plumbers, there's nowhere to run, the Supreme said, feeling victorious. Max. I wasn't running, boss, I was looking for the egg machine. Max said and took out a vacuum projector from his pocket and I know what plan he had in mind, much to Ben's displeasure. Supreme. A vacuum projector. Do you think you can put us all in there? The Supreme asked angrily. Max. No, but without the lens, it will do a good imitation of a hand grenade and that will take half a mile. Said Max, taking out the focusing lens of the vacuum projector. Supreme. You wouldn't dare, you would end up with yourself and your grandchildren and their friends, said the Supreme. Max. Gwen, create an energy field around each other and maintain it and be a good girl. Max asked Gwen and nodded. Max. Issei, you help Ben as much as you can and never give up and protect Yuma. It's obvious that you are his grandson, your grandfather Juzo would be proud of you. Max said and I nodded, but how do you know about my grandfather? Ben. Grandpa Max, no please. Ben asked his grandfather not to detonate the void grenade. Max. I'm sorry, Ben, it's the only way to make sure they don't do the same thing to Ken. You and Issei are in charge now, I know you can do it, I believe in you and all of you. Max said. Issei. We will, Max. I said, about to cry. Yuma. Count on us. Yuma said, crying. Ben. Don't do it, grandfather, Ben shouted, almost crying, and Gwen projected a mana field around us, and Max detonated the void grenade, and the whole place except us was destroyed in a huge explosion. Kevin. That was extreme. Kevin said. Gwen. He saved the world. Gwen said. Yuma. Yes, giving his life to save others. Yuma said, crying, not knowing that Max was alive and was in the void and fighting Dr. Animo, now known as Void. Ben. Yes, he did, for now. Ben said. Issei. Yes, the DNAs and the hybrid are still roaming the country and we must defeat them as soon as possible. I said. Ben. And now it's up to us to protect the planet from the hybrid. Ben said, and we left the place to return to Bellwood, and the 6 of us decided not to say anything about what happened to Ben, Gwen and Ken's families. A few hours later, in the ruins of the hatchery, 2 people, who strangely looked like Issei and Yuma, were seen fighting against 2 DNAs disguised as humans, and the boy was wearing a black and purple Omnitrix on his wrist and cured them for later. Erase your memories. Hikari. Ani-sama, let's destroy the xenocytes in the container before they go to infect the rest of the city. Hikari said to his older brother and threw a grenade to make the container with xenocytes explode. Hero. One less problem to worry about, Hikari, but it's a huge problem that could not only affect this world, but also the entire multiverse. Hero said to his sister. Hikari. Where are we going now, Ani-sama? Hikari asked his brother. Hero. To Bellwood and ensure that our parents' future is safe because their future depends on our future existence. Hero said to his sister that he makes it clear that they are from the future and that they are trying to protect the future of their parents, but who will be the parents of Hero and Hikari? Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.